As you may know, TRIO is under attack. The current administration argues that TRIO programs are unnecessary, claiming that college access for low-income, first-generation students is no longer hindered by economic and systemic barriers. We all know that is false, and that TRIO services still provide sorely needed opportunities to hundreds of thousands of students nationwide. Action is required in order to protect these vital services. Please contact your members of Congress to let them know that you support TRIO and follow @ProtectTRIO Now on Instagram to stay up to date with the latest updates and information. The links to contact your congressional representative can be found on the podcast description.
You are listening to Let's Talk TRIO on podcasts. Keep up with the latest episodes by downloading the Podbean app or stream episodes via our social media accounts. Search for Let's Talk TRIO on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This podcast episode is brought to you by Longsdale Publishing. Is your program seeking ways to assess your students' college readiness? Does your program need a tool to document the effectiveness of your program? Longsdale Publishing is excited to offer the Strategic Learning Assessment, a 20-minute online assessment that provides recommendations and strategies to improve academic performance across 11 learning areas: communication, critical thinking, effective learning strategies, focus and concentration, growth mindset, persistence, seeking help, sense of belonging, stress management, test preparation, and time management. For as little as $3 per student, the Strategic Learning Assessment identifies strengths and areas for growth, along with tailored recommendations for each learning area. Want a complimentary sample account for yourself and 5 students? Contact Longsdale Publishing at 727-389-8026. Again, that number is 727-389-8026. Or visit our website for more information at www.longsdale.com. That website again is www.longsdale.com. Longsdale Publishing, your partner in student success. This episode is sponsored by Student Access. Student Access, the leader in TRIO software. Student Access is an online database solution that allows TRIO programs to track their students' information, connect with students by text messages, streamline the APR, and work from anywhere, all online, with automatic updates for changes from the Department of Education. Their technical support team includes former TRIO staff and has over 50 years of combined experience working with TRIO. Make it easier to focus on your priority, the students. For more information and to request a free demo, visit their website at www.studentaccess.com or call them toll-free at 1-800-801-1232. That website again is www.studentaccess.com or 1-800-801-1232. Be sure to share your favorite episodes on your social media by tapping that share button. This is a great way to support the podcast. Now here's your host, Juan Rivas.
Thank you, Amelia, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, listener, and welcome to this episode of Let's Talk TRIO. This is Season 7, Episode 21. I am your host, Juan Rivas. Before we begin, some community announcements. TRIO Nation, be sure to call your congressional representatives to defend the TRIO programs. The Trump administration is seeking to eliminate the TRIO programs in their most recent proposed budget. Take action now by spreading the word and contacting your congressional representative. Let them know that TRIO works. The link to find your congressional representative can be found on the podcast description. North Carolina Central University is hosting their annual Student Access and Success Conference in 2026. Click the link located on the episode description to learn more. In today's episode, we have Jackie Estrada Perez, student at the University of Northern Colorado and participant of the TRIO McNair Scholars Research Program. Jackie is on the podcast to share her academic journey as a transfer student, learning about the TRIO programs, and her career aspirations. Coming up in just a bit, Jackie Estrada Perez. A heartfelt thanks to our individual supporters, Angelica Villalpando, Rosario Riley, Dr. Ryan Barone, Dr. Jamie Motley, Dr. Jeff Naputi, Angelica Valdez, Felicia Rivera, Eric Lemaster, Jeff Calden, and Jaded Electronics. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, TrioJoblist.com, Nosotros Education Center, Longsdale Publishing, Student Access, and TheTrioStore.com, powered by Proforma. Visit www.thetriostore.com, your source for TRIO graduation stoles. Thank you all so much for your continued support of this podcast. You too can be a sponsor of the podcast. Head on over to Patreon and search for Let's Talk TRIO. Choose one of 4 patron levels. You can support this podcast for as little as $1 a month. If you own a business that serves the TRIO community and want to sponsor the podcast, we have different sponsorship packages available. Contact us for details. Become a supporter with a one-time donation to the podcast business PayPal account. Our business handle is @Let'sTalkTrio. Your support helps lift TRIO voices. If you would like to nominate a participant, staff, or alumni to be on the podcast, send us an email at letstalktrio@gmail.com. That email again is letstalktrio@gmail.com. Again, a great episode featuring Jackie Estrada Perez, student at the University of Northern Colorado and participant of the TRIO McNair Scholars Research Program. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Hi, TRIO Nation. My guest on the Let's Talk TRIO podcast is a current student at the University of Northern Colorado and is a participant of the TRIO Student Support Services and the McNair Scholars Program. She is currently double majoring in health sciences with a concentration in public health and human services, while also having minors in environmental science and psychology. My guest was a transfer student who attended Ames Community College, then transferred to the University of Northern Colorado. She earned her associates in liberal arts from Ames Community College in 2022. When she is not busy with school and studying, my guest enjoys reading horror books, painting, and going to concerts. Welcome to the podcast, Jackie Estrada Perez. Jackie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We are so glad to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get to talking and kind of let you guys know a little bit about myself.
Absolutely. This podcast is all about you. Before we jump in, how are things going for you?
They're going pretty well. The semester is off to a great start. I'm excited for fall. There's a lot of new possibilities.
Wonderful.
Yeah, really enjoy it.
Oh, that's so good. Now, before we actually connected and you emailed and reached out wanting to be on the podcast, I looked you up a little bit. You've accomplished a lot already in such a short amount of time.
I'm actually flattered. I think I have one thing I always tell people, like, my CV and resume, like, no one can compete with that.
You certainly have.
Yeah, I feel like I genuinely have. I'm a busy girl. If you saw my schedule, you would be like trying to rip your hair off because it's a lot.
Well, I saw your CV and I was like, no way, already? Like all these things done?
And
I was blown away, so congrats.
Old one. You got an old one. So I still need to update that one.
Oh my gosh, so even more. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But you're so motivated, which is awesome. Before we talk about your CV and resume, I want to ask you a little bit about your interests and hobbies, because in your intro we actually had noted that you are into horror books, into concerts. I gotta ask, what was the last concert you've been to, and what is your favorite horror movie?
My last concert has to be Lil Wayne.
Oh, right
I
on.
went to go see Lil Wayne. That was very fun.
Hmm.
And then horror books, I have always been so like I've been a chicken when it comes to watching movies that are horror.
Hmm.
Even though I like the adrenaline of it, like it's too scary for me sometimes. And so when I first picked up a horror book, I realized, okay, like I like this creepiness a little bit more than the jump scare aspect of things.
Uh-huh.
And so that's how I got into horror books because I was like, I can take this side like creepy
Ah,
horror versus scary horror.
gotcha. So there's a difference then, right? Of like big
Oh,
screen
for
horror
sure.
versus book. I feel like books are like make your skin crawl and make you feel like some sort of
Yes.
way.
Like creepy. Like you're actually having like nightmares, but like in a
Oh,
different way
for
compared
sure.
to like the jump scares just like boom in your face.
So, are there a particular series or a particular author that makes you feel like compelled to read these horror books?
Honestly, Stephen King, I know
Oh,
people
the
don't
master.
like him, but I love his books. I've read almost not almost all of his books, but I made read a
You're-
couple.
yeah,
Um and like he has a lot. So
yeah.
I'm still going at it, trying to keep up.
Wow. I will note that when I read Stephen King, I always prepare myself mentally for like the sad endings because he doesn't give happy endings ever to any of his
He
characters.
doesn't. Yeah.
Spoiler alert to anybody reading Stephen King.
Yeah, putting it out there. Don't get your hopes up.
Absolutely. So, Jackie, what is something that you hope to accomplish by the end of 2025? We're very close. We're in the middle of September. If you can believe it,
Yeah.
we're wrapping up September, if that sounds correct. But yeah,
Yeah.
what are you looking forward to as we end 2025?
I think as we end 2025, one of the biggest things I hope to accomplish is probably finding myself as like an adult because I feel like college can be very fast paced and I now that I'm in my senior year, it's kind of getting a little bit more real.
Ah,
And so I hope to have a little bit more established like hopes and dreams along with like next steps. So yeah, that's what I hope to accomplish to be uh figured out more as an adult.
well, that's wonderful. Well, if you have it figured out, please let me know because I'd love to learn. I'd like to get some tips from you.
Yeah, I'll let you know. We'll see if it
Please,
ever
yes,
happens.
follow up. We need a 1 year from now podcast just to see
Yeah,
how things are going for you.
yeah, for real. I'll check in.
Absolutely. What is something that 2025 has taught you?
Ooh, um, I would probably say one of the things that 2025 has taught me, um, is to go where you feel like you belong.
Oh,
Um,
snaps for that.
and
Yes.
also stay like not stay, but spread light into the world when
Mm,
you feel like there's not enough light. Um, I feel like 2025 has been crazy. Um, and I know that by doing these simple things, I can add a little bit of good into the world. Um, no matter how big or small the task is. So,
that's wonderful. But first, let me say, you're already adding a lot of good to this world just based on the things that I've read on you and the things that you've been doing. You've been adding so much, and now to see you transitioning, you're going from your senior year, you'll be graduating in the spring, right?
in the summer, but
Oh,
yes.
in the summer. Well,
Uh-huh.
even more better, right? If that's even a word. So much better because again, you've already done so much positive that going into the, as you put it, the real world, I think you're gonna continue putting that positivity out there.
That's the plan.
That's awesome. I love that. So this semester, at least to me, it feels like it's gone off to a fast start. For the students listening, or even for the professionals listening, what are your strategies to keep things balanced each semester?
See, I have a love and hate relationship with this question because You saw, like, I do a lot. I
You do.
genuinely do. My schedule is packed, like, all the time. Um, and I love it that way, but
Hmm.
sometimes you can get burnout very quickly.
Oh, for sure.
And in the past, I have struggled with that, but now, I think what really helped me balance out is having such a strong support network from, because I live on campus, right? So I have my support network on campus, and then I have it when I go home.
Hmm.
And then I get have it outside of home and campus. And so I have groups of people that I know will be there for me if I need it, depending on what situation it is. And so that's been like my biggest strategy of not getting burnt out and like feeling like I can do things, because I see like, okay, I have people that might support me in this way or in this
Hmm.
way, or I can reach out to for this. So that's my biggest thing. And also a planner. I'm a visual person. I need to see it that like it physically is somewhere. If not, it's not there. It's not existent. So those are my strategies. Um, Even though they're a little bit messy, they end up working for me.
Absolutely. I think it takes the individual to figure out what strategy works best because
Yeah.
everybody looks at time management differently, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sometimes people are better than it. Another time people can be worse at it. It just really depends on your lingo. Figure it out.
Absolutely. So let's rewind the clocks a little bit. Can you tell us about your upbringing and yeah, a little bit about your family?
Yeah, of course. So I grew up in Westminster. So I originally would go to like schools in Denver. Um, those were very nice,
Hmm.
because my mom worked in Denver and then my grandparents worked in Denver, and so I really had that like support network around there too.
Hmm.
Um, and then once I was in like seventh grade, I moved to Brighton, and then I ended up going to middle school and high school in Brighton, Colorado.
Hmm.
Um, and I had always been in charter schools, and so charter school wise, they were pretty small schools.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think. Oh, I'm the oldest daughter. I have one younger little brother who's 7 years younger than me. And yes, I do argue with him like I'm his age, because he makes me really mad sometimes. Um,
Jackie,
and
I'm right there with you in solidarity. So you're the eldest sibling?
yeah, I'm the oldest sibling, so he
Same,
knows how to pick
same.
my buttons. And I'm 23, so right now he's 16, and he's in that high school mentality of like,
Oh
I can beat up my sister now, and so he knows how to pick my buttons. But
Jackie,
yes,
let me tell you. No, I'm gonna quick anecdote here. It
yeah,
doesn't stop. My youngest brother, we are almost 11 years apart.
yeah,
He knows how to push my buttons. Like
yeah,
he knows exactly how to irritate me. Shout out to my little brother Fernando. I love you.
yeah,
But my God, do I get irritated? Like I'm the most patient person in the world, but
yes.
that guy just knows how to push my buttons.
No, they know how to do like they know how to put you from level 1 all the way
Oh,
to
yes.
level 6 in like 30
Yes.
seconds, if not like 5.
And it feels
Um,
intentional. Well, it is intentional, right?
yeah, yeah. And then both my parents are from Mexico, so I grew up with having cultural roots in the north side of Mexico
All
along with
right.
the southern side. So I got a little bit of both, which was
Mm-hmm.
very nice. And then my parents didn't my dad only got an elementary school type of education. And then my mom graduated high school, but there wasn't possibilities for her to go to college.
Mm.
So yeah, that's a little bit about my upbringing, my family background.
That's awesome. So, very good family network, a younger
Mhm.
brother that knows how to push your buttons. So I'm going to turn this question around then and say, how would your family describe you?
I think they would say that I'm kind of independent in the sense
Mhm.
of like I've had to navigate a lot of things by myself. Especially as a little girl, like I was the type of person that like if my friend was mad at me, like I didn't care. Like the world still
Right.
moves, like
Still moving.
my mom would always tell me like you came into this world by yourself, you're leaving by yourself. It's okay. Like you're
Yeah.
fine. And so that was really something that like solidified how I went about things. Um, but yeah, they would say that I'm pretty independent. I think they would also say I'm shy. Because
Mm.
I'm a very big yapper, but I'm a selective yapper. So
Uh-huh.
like when I'm comfortable, you won't hear me say anything. I'll just sit there and like be in one with whatever is going around me. But usually I like to be the yapper in like group settings and stuff like that.
Wow, that's awesome. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Are you seeking guidance to enhance your TRIO project's effectiveness and success? Look no further. Nosotros Education Center, NEC, is here to empower your TRIO project with expert consulting services. NEC's mission is to promote the effectiveness and impact of TRIO programs. Since 2003, NEC has specialized in providing professional development and in-service staff trainings, allowable cost services, for TRIO projects across the country. The team at NEC, with over 60 years of combined TRIO experience, offers customized workshops and seminars for project staff, compliance assessments, external evaluations, working on and submitting APRs, database customization and training, development of policies and procedures manuals, and project implementation or reorganization services. Additionally, NEC has secured over $774 million in federal funding with a 92% success rate through their live and on-demand proposal workshops, assistance with data collection and review, detailed technical reviews, and comprehensive proposal development services. Join the hundreds of colleges, agencies, and TRIO projects across the country who benefited from NEC's expertise. Nosotros Education Center, your partner in TRIO's project success. Visit their website at nosotros.edu.org. Again, that's nosotrosedu.org.
And now, back to the podcast. What is a childhood memory that sticks out to you the most?
When I was reading over this was my favorite one.
Oh, yeah?
One of my favorite childhood memories. This was like, I think my little brother was 3 years old. And so growing up, my family always made it a big deal to always do something fun. And so there was one year, I believe I was like in elementary or in middle school. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we had driven to Disneyland. My little brother was still too little. And so my parents would take turns like on the rides with me, which to me is like so bittersweet. I think that it's adorable. And there's one instance where my mom and dad had switched, and it was me and my dad on like the Tower of Horror.
Oh.
And he did not want to get on, and I was like a little kid, like, oh my gosh, it looks so fun, it's gonna drop.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called, the Tower of Horror.
Yeah.
And so there was like a picture of us at the beginning, and he's like screaming, and I'm over here like, yeah. So that has to be my biggest memory with them that I absolutely love.
That's awesome. Do you recall what you wanted to be when you grew up?
I remember as a kid thinking if I'm not gonna be a singer, I'm gonna be a veterinarian. I
Ah.
really loved animals. Animals always called out to me. Um, and I always wanted to be a pop star. It'd be fun singing up there.
Who would you say was like a pop star you looked up to or became like an idol, someone that you like looked up to?
Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez, okay, okay. Got it, got
She was my main one. For sure.
Well, she is versatile. I mean, she's a singer, an actor, and she does a lot of
Yeah,
things.
he
She's
does
just
a lot of
tremendous.
things. So I was like, I can too.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And so, a veterinarian, were you more like compassionate toward a specific animal? Is there an animal that you wanted to work with specifically, or was this more general love for all animals and just wanting to see them? Oh,
I think it could have been a mix of both. Snakes I'm still kind of weirded out about, so
oh,
like
for
I,
sure.
I
Yeah, they're
think
kind of
that
weird.
would have never been an option. Um, but I was obsessed with horses. I didn't play with dolls, I played with horses.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so I think if I wasn't allergic, that's like a different conversation, but if I wasn't allergic to animals, I would have gone into like farm animals and cows and stuff like that. I think I would have enjoyed that a lot. Or if not that, cats and dogs. I love
Okay.
that. I love animals.
You love
Exotic
animals.
animals, maybe a toucan. I don't know. Like I could have been that type of veterinarian.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about your elementary and middle school days? What was that experience like for you?
So elementary wise, I mentioned I went to schools in Denver, so I was
Hmm.
very used to diversity. Diversity was everywhere. I had different types of friends, different types of cultures that I would constantly see.
Hmm.
And so I will say I had a really beautiful elementary experience, especially my grandparents lived in Denver, and so there was the times where like they would either pick me up from school or take me
Oh,
out
yeah.
from school to like take me out for lunch. Yeah, my grandparents were very involved in that aspect too, so that's what helped. And then in middle school it was a little rougher for me just because I had been going from like such diverse schools to now going to like such like predominantly white charter schools that
Hmm.
for me like I stuck in I am Hispanic, but I stuck out like a sore thumb once I made that transition, and Brighton was not as culturally diverse as it used to be.
Mm.
And so that was my like biggest struggle when transitioning.
Hmm.
Um, and it was really hard. It took me a while to like be comfortable with my identities and like navigating what that means for me and how I show up for the world. Because I think that's where the shyness of my family might tell you a little bit too of like, she's shy because I used to be really, really shy.
Mm.
But because I was kind of like pushed out to be that way. Um, but yeah, so they were very completely different. However, I'm very grateful for them. I feel like I've grown to be a very open and diverse person, and so if it wasn't for my experiences, I don't think I would be where I'm at right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, of
At
course.
what point did you and your family sit down and talk about college? Was that ever a conversation that came up? Did you bring it up or did they bring it up?
Honestly, I was always at home. It was always you have to go to school and you have to go to college. So it was never like a conversation like of like, oh, like what are your options? Like what do you do?
Mm.
My parents were very much like, you are going to college. That is not a question. Your answer is you're going. We don't know how, but you're going.
Right. So it wasn't a question. It was you're going to go to college.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
Wow.
sure. From like every aspect of life, it was like elementary school you have to finish it, middle school you have to finish it, high school
Wow.
you have to graduate,
Yeah.
college like you have to go to college no matter what.
Wow. So it sounds like your parents really played a pivotal role or a really
Oh
vital
yes,
role to make sure
yes,
that your education continued.
they're supportive, like they genuinely are.
Hmm. Hmm.
Obviously to as much as they can because they don't know what it's like.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
my parents played such a big role in me going to college. So yeah.
Hmm. That's great. When you started talking about college or when your parents talked to you about college, were the steps clear on how to get there, or did you feel like the process was still a little bit murky in your mind?
No, I was so lost.
Mm,
I did not know how to apply for college, what colleges I could be applying to. I
mm,
was so lost. I had no idea. I think I survived because of what little things I would hear here and there. But yeah, and looking back now, like I honestly don't know how I made it here. Um, but like snaps it finger snaps to my younger self because I think now being where I'm at, I'm like, geez, girl, like I don't know how you did it.
I think your younger self is impressed, but
Yeah,
your experienced self is like, I got the support to get here, and it took that experience and it took all of that to be where you are now. So
yeah,
I think I think for a lot of first generation students, it's like, you know what? Wow that I made it here, but also like, wow, I made it here, you know?
yeah, yeah.
So speaking of all this, as you're thinking about college, your parents are reinforcing the idea of college. What do you remember most about your like the high school transition? Did you feel like, okay, here's another thing I have to complete. Here are more classes I have to take. Yeah, what did that feel like for you?
It kind of felt like that's a bare minimum in the sense of like you have to
Mm,
graduate high school.
bare
Like
minimum. Yeah.
bare minimum, get your high school diploma because no job is. My parents would always freak me out in little ways, and so they'd always say, "No job is gonna get you without a high school diploma." And so in my head, I'm like, "Oh, I need to finish. I need to
Yeah.
finish
And
bare
then you have a
minimum."
diploma.
Um, uh, I remember like having good times with my friends as well too.
Hmm.
Um, I went to a small charter high school called Eagle Ridge, in Brighton, and so everyone knew each other, and that's the one thing I also remember is being able to forge that community a little bit more, um, in high school, even though it was a small school. Um, yeah.
Wow. Can you tell us when did you learn about Trio? Was this something that came later, or did you learn about it early on?
I would say I learned about it early on. Um, it was still something that I wasn't sure about. I was like, oh, trio. I knew it was trio equals first gen. Like that's how
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
experienced it. So I was like, that's for me. That's for me. That's a space for me. I need that. I don't have that support. So that's how I kind of went about it, but I had no clue what trio even did at
Oh
all.
wow, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what did you get involved in while in high school? Did you get like, were you super involved and joined every single club that you could think of, or were you more kind of a moderate approach and like try out some clubs and do some stuff here and there?
Oh, I was very moderate. I feel like high school you have a very weird time where either you're figuring yourself out and you got it all figured out and you're trying everything, doing everything, or you're still figuring yourself out and you're not really sure where you stand in society type
Hmm.
wise. But I will say I was a part of the basketball team and
Oh,
those are my
cool.
fondest memories of going to practice, off season training, hanging out with the team after games, you know, just little things like that. That was my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Basketball.
Wow.
Basketball was my cup of tea.
That's awesome. What positions did you play?
Point guard. Yeah, I was
Point guard.
short. So that's what I
That's
was.
awesome though.
A point guard.
Did you stick with basketball throughout high school?
Yeah, up until I got hurt.
Oh no,
I
I'm
got
sorry.
injured. Yeah, I got injured. I tore my ACL and a part of my
Oh,
meniscus, and so
painful. Yeah.
that was during my junior year, and then I tore it again. So my senior year, I was kind of out. It was like, girl, like you're going through it. You can't play.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. So ACL injury was just like, nope, sorry, can't do it, and that was it.
Yeah, like I think for me, it was more of like prioritizing my physical health
Oh,
over
100%.
um the want and need of wanting to play. So that was like the biggest thing. But I loved basketball. I still showed up whenever I could in my crutches. So I was there. There's
Yeah.
pictures of me there.
That's awesome. That's awesome, though. It speaks to your dedication, which is amazing. So, even through the injury and through all the involvement that you had in high school, the question of college must have been in the background for you. Were you seeking out more information on how to get to college? Did you have any specific colleges you wanted to attend?
Yeah, so like I said, I grew up in a house that was very much like, girl, like you gotta go to college no matter what. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter.
Hmm.
So when I remember going up to my mom my senior year and I'm like, what if I take a year off and I work and I all my money goes to like college and how I'm gonna pay for college? And she goes, you're not taking a break. So then I was like, okay, so now I have to figure out how I'm gonna get to college because like I know you're gonna support me, but like, girl, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. And so like seeking out wise, I don't know how much more I could have done with the resources that I was given.
Hmm.
Obviously, we had advisors and stuff like that, but I remember
Yeah.
one time going to my advisor and being like, yeah, like, if so, how do I apply for a college? And pretty much what I was told was like free application day is this day, apply to whatever you can. And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get the support I need by myself or support I need where I'm asking for it. So I know I have to do it by myself. Um, and so Google was free,
Oh,
Google
yeah.
was
Yeah.
there.
Perfect.
I was a kid who loved the internet. So I was like, okay, let's start Googling the basic things. How do I get scholarships? Like, how do I apply for a school? And so because I knew and I heard it from my peers of like free application day, because Colorado does that
Oh,
free.
yeah. The free application day. Yeah.
That was like my biggest thing. I told myself it. I said, if you miss this, there's not another opportunity because admissions to colleges, like I was finding out, oh girl, it's money. It's
Oh,
money.
yeah. They
That
charge like 50 to $100 or
yeah,
150 for some.
yeah, so I was like, out of state was not, I said no, I can't
Mm.
afford
Hmm.
it. I'm not even gonna look. So then when free Colorado application day came, I said Colorado schools. I applied to as many as I could with the time frame because I
Wow.
didn't know that like for example CSU or CU Boulder, I believe they require essays. And so I
Oh,
was
yeah.
not
Something like that.
prepared. I was not prepared. Some of them require a letter of recs. So I did all the schools that you just applied. It was
Hmm.
straightforward. Um,
Yeah.
and I I think if I had been better prepared, the specific colleges that I would have probably attended would have been like Regis or I always did want to go to UNC. Like that was one of my top five, I think. But like a bigger school, I think I would have been really excited to be a part of for sure.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your senior year. What sticks out the most during this time, and how were you able to narrow down your college choices?
My senior year, so what really sticks out, I'll tell you, COVID, because I
Oh,
was the first
yeah.
COVID class.
Uh-huh.
So it was kind of like, oh, I remember going to a Post Malone concert that night. We got the email and it was like, school's out for 2 weeks. Don't come back
Oh,
until we tell you to
yeah.
come back. And then I went to it with that concert with a close friend of mine, a childhood
Hmm.
friend of mine. And we were just jumping up and down like we're at Post Malone, yay, yay, yay. And then school's out and we had those 2 weeks. The 2 weeks were up and we just never came back.
Yeah.
So I think for me that kind of changed my perspective on like what possibilities college could be like. Because I really didn't know, was it gonna be online? Was it yeah, like I didn't know.
Didn't know, yeah.
I was lost. I think once I started getting my admissions acceptances, like I got accepted to a lot of 4 years. But you know how they tell you in the letter, like this is the reward or this is how much you get. I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
yeah, so that's not enough for my tuition. So what's another option for me? And that's when I started looking at the community colleges. And so around me there was Front Range and Ames Community College, and so then I was like, okay, I think these are gonna be the safer options for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially knowing the financial burden it would take for my family to support me going to a 4 year. Uh,
Mm.
so yeah.
Yeah. So that's how you narrowed it down was like really one, location, it has to be in state. Two,
Mm-hmm.
location, it has to be close.
Yes.
And the support network has to be there as well.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. That's it. It like went oop, oop, oop.
So for you then, the community colleges became but like kind of top priority or
Oh yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because I mean, felt really flattered, like of having 4 years get back to me saying like you're in. Like I was like, geez, like they're not gonna toot my own horn, but I had peers that hadn't gotten into the same schools that I had applied to. So I was
Hmm.
very proud of that. Um, but also like I knew like yeah, maybe my dream would have been to go to a 4 year straight off the bat, but I needed to think long term and, you know, long term, that was not the right option for me at all.
Okay. Okay. Um, so at this point and stage of your high school career, you were about to graduate. What did graduating from high school mean to you and to your family?
Um, I think for me, it was definitely one of those things because I was COVID class, we did the little parade and
Oh,
I
yeah.
did get to walk a stage. They did make one for us. But it kind of felt like new possibilities. It was kind of scary because when you're going to classes with the same four people, or not four people, the same people for 4 years, you get familiar, you get comfortable, and so like it was bittersweet being like, geez, like we're kind of all separating now and going our own ways, and seeing where
Yeah.
life takes us. But I think for my family, they also saw it as a new opportunity in the sense of like, um, generationally, like they weren't given the opportunity to be able to go to college or get a high school degree. And now with me, I think I became a new way to support my family without,
Hmm.
really like saying it out loud. Like, okay, now this is a new area that we don't know about, especially for my little brother. Because
Absolutely.
like although I'm older, he's still first gen as well.
Hmm.
And so it was like, okay, I think I was the trial and error. Like, what happens after high school? For sure.
They were looking to you and saying, "All right, so what does happen after high school?"
Like, all right, now it's your turn to show us. And so that I think that for me took on a new level of responsibility as a young adult of like, okay, now it's time for me to step up a little bit and kind of lead the way wherever I can.
Absolutely. Again, shout out to the older siblings. We're the trailblazers. Even though we're
Yes.
seen as the experimental folks, we
Yes.
are the trailblazers. We are.
Yeah, we are.
You opted to go to Ames Community College. What ultimately influenced your decision to go to this college first over a four-year institution?
Um, so I mentioned I lived in Brighton, so I was looking and Front Range was around, but it wasn't the full Front Range. It was like a little branch of Front Range that
Uh-huh.
just don't happen to be in Brighton. So I would have to commute to Thornton if I wanted to take classes. And then my mom had heard about Ames Community College and I had too, but I had never taken it into account because like I think in Colorado, you mostly think of Front Range as being the main community
Yeah,
college.
there's a lot of people. When I first got here, I was like, oh, Front Range Community College. It seems to be
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And so my mom was like, you should look into Ames because I heard they have a campus in Fort Lupton. And for me, from where I live in Brighton to Fort Lupton is only 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, like the drive, not that bad at all. And so that's kind of what made me say like, okay, like let's see what Ames has to offer.
Hmm.
'Cause it's literally 15 minutes away and I wouldn't have to be commuting that far. The commute wouldn't be as hard on me my first year either.
Hmm.
Um, And like I said, I knew I could figure out how to pay for community college. I knew I couldn't figure out how to pay for a four-year institution. And like I understand loans were a thing. I was scared. I'm still kind of petrified about loans.
Yeah, no,
But
yeah, it's
I
scary.
knew for me, I I feel like I would have probably dug myself up in a hole that I would not know how to get out
Mm,
of. And
mm.
again, I knew the financial burden it would take on me, it would take on my family, and I just couldn't make that sacrifice, I guess, in a way of like for the luxury of a 4 year. Um, then like yeah, like I don't know if you get what I'm trying to
I
say.
totally get what you're saying. It's a
Yeah,
cost comparison, but also
yeah,
a efficiency comparison about like
yeah.
if I can get from here to there, or even the accommodations that you
Cheaper.
can cheaper,
Yeah, like
absolutely the price, and then the student loans, right? I think
yeah,
it's been a yeah. Go ahead.
petrified. I was petrified about the student loans. And then also knowing that I could graduate, in 2 years with a degree.
Hmm.
Because an associate's degree is a degree, and so
It is,
that was
yeah.
kind of what pushed me of like, okay, I'm still assured a degree in 2 years if I go for 2 years, but I'm not assured a degree if I go for 2 years at a university. So that was like another main indicator of like, maybe you should go over here.
Yeah. I'm curious. I want to hear about like what preparations did you do to get ready for your first semester? Were you like, uh, during the summer, kind of preparing yourself and looking at the classes, or were you like more worried about like school supplies and getting to
Yeah.
class and all of that? Yeah, yeah. What was your
I'm
preparation
gonna be
like?
so honest. So I was actually enrolled in Front Range, but
Oh,
then
yeah.
once I like knew how like convenient it was to go to Ames instead, I ended up saying, you know what? Let me apply to Ames a week before classes start. So I applied. I remember and I didn't tell my parents because I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna be mad. I did not apply to Ames Community College before my classes started. So I remember I applied that day, and then by the next day I was already accepted. So I was like,
Oh, wow.
oh, perfect for me. I mean, all I have to meet with an advisor and get it figured out. But like over the summer, I did not prepare. I was still in limbo of like, dang, it's COVID. I can't do anything. I'm a senior, fresh out of high school, like, and there's nothing going on, no carnivals, no like
Nothing. Yeah, 2020 was just
e-
a ghost town.
everything was closed. Yeah. So like luckily I did have a group of friends back then that we would kind of go out and adventure here and there, and like it was still quiet around, but
Yeah.
there's not much that you could do. So when it came to like preparing, like I was not prepared. I didn't know what to expect. They had told me that all the classes were going to be online too.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
like for me, I was having a blast because I loved COVID. I'm
Oh,
that type
yeah.
of person.
Yeah.
I loved COVID. COVID was I think one of the best years of my life. And I once I heard that classes were online, I was like, ah, so I get to stay in bed, I can be in my PJs, I can go to class
That's
and it's
awesome.
right there on the laptop. Like I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved it. So I just knew like you gotta get your notebooks, you gotta print your syllabus out. And that was it. That's all
Yeah.
I knew.
That's what I remember the COVID days too, like when they sent us home. So I think you knew this already about me, but I work at CSU for that's my full-time job. And
No, I did
uh
not, but now I
oh
do.
yeah, I'm over at CSU. I don't know if you can see it's a CSU logo on this.
I'm
But
not
yeah,
gonna
that's
lie. I'm gonna tell you rivalry right now, Skull Bears.
oh my gosh. There it is. Go Rams. I'm sorry. I'm also a student there for CSU, so it works.
That's too funny. But sorry, continue. Yes, you work
No,
at
no.
CSU.
But yeah, no, I remember how like empty everything was. People were trying to
Mhm.
figure out how to work from home or attend school online. It was just the craziness. So when you describe it, it
See,
just kind of like it transports me back to 2020.
and I think because I was first gen too, it made the process of going to college a little less scary.
Mm,
Um,
Hmm.
because I feel like I could still have that interaction with peers online, but it wasn't in person. So I didn't have to physically like put myself out there. Like I could put myself out there enough, but not like in my entirety as a whole, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. So, upon your now last second, sorry, I don't mean to put you on blast on this.
Yeah.
On your last second admission to Ames,
Like that
did
is
you
such a funny story. uh
did you know what you wanted to major in? I mean, it was such a last second decision. Did you have a chance to like, this is my program of study, or were you like, you know what, I'm just in?
no, I was just grateful to be in. Like, even though my parents were like, you gotta go to college, you gotta go to college.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just worried about how to get there. I wasn't worried about what I was gonna do. So when the my advisor asked me like, what do you want to be? And I was like, I had no words because I was like, I don't know. I really don't know what to do with my life. This is gonna
Yeah.
be like the bridge for me to go to a 4 year, and so I kind of had to time it a little bit. So my first semester I was undeclared. Um, and then I had thought about being a psychologist, so then I switched it to psychology.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and that's how I navigated my first year at
Wow.
least of being in college.
Talk about your first semester at ACC. What did you like the most, and what is something that you learned about yourself?
Something that I liked the most was probably how small it was. I
Oh,
mentioned
the
going to charter
smallness of,
schools
yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
like my entire life, and so how small it was, like literally I would go to class even though it was online and there was only 20 students. I was so comfortable with that because I had been around that my entire life. Um, and I think what one of the main things I learned about myself was that I was so resilient. I feel
Mm,
like, unfortunately, like my education system didn't set me up for success. And so now, like, I think having that first semester in my pocket, I was like, you know what? My capabilities are so much more greater than what I expected them to be and what
hmm
people made it seem like my expectations could be. Um,
hmm
and so I really felt empowered. I felt like I wanted to, that's where I think it stemmed of like I want to do everything and be everywhere. Yeah, my first semester was critical for me for sure.
And in that process, what did you learn about yourself?
Yeah, I think the resiliency aspect of
The
it, I
resiliency?
think um believing in myself genuinely for the
Ah,
first
yeah.
time. And not just like, yeah, I believe in myself, like actually feeling it in my soul, like,
Mm,
geez, like you can do anything and like one semester already off, like you're so close to a degree, you are
hmm
so close to obtaining that associates. And so I felt good about myself for the first time too, of like i I'm making decisions that are good for me. And um in college too, like I remember my first semester I ended with the 3.0, and I just felt so relieved. I felt like, geez, like actually, like this is not as hard as I feel like my high school had made it seem, of like it's gonna be hard, like mind you, college is hard. It is
Yeah.
hard,
Oh, let's give
but
it that. Yeah. It's challenging.
it's doable. Yeah,
Yes.
it's definitely doable, and they made it seem like unless you're a certain type of way, like you won't be successful. And like that's not the
Yes.
case.
Absolutely. I don't know if you I remember teachers telling me that, oh, your professors are going to be strict. They have no leniency. If you can't get it together now, you're not going to be successful in
Yeah.
college, that sort of thing. And then when you get to college, like your professors are like the most
The
personable
nicest
people you
people
know.
ever. Oh yeah, the nicest people ever. I was like, you guys lied.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that illusion shattered completely.
Yeah, no, literally.
So while you were at ACC, you also joined the TRIO Student Support Services program. I think the audience wants to know, how did you get involved? How did that happen for you?
Shout out Chio at Ames. I love them so much. Um, so This story I feel like is very bittersweet to me. Just because I love to lead in the sense of like give credit where it's due, right? And so
For sure.
I had a family friend, her name is Itlali Gomez, who was she was already attending CU Boulder, and I remember kind of talking to her about college and I got into Ames, like how fun, and she had told me like let me look at like what organizations, programs and stuff like that Ames has to offer. And yeah, she's like, I don't know a lot because I go to CU Boulder, but maybe there's something here that sticks out that like I can tell you to apply to that I know is going to be worth it for your educational journey. And so I remember sitting there with my laptop. She was looking over and she goes, "Oh, they have TRIO. You should apply to TRIO." And so I was like, "Oh, yeah, like are you in TRIO or like what's TRIO? Tell me a little bit more." And so she was also a part of Trio and CO Boulder. And so she kind of told me how it's catered for first gen and they give you advisors and they kind of like help you navigate what it's like to be in college as a first generation student. And so as soon as I heard the word first gen, that was enough for me. That
Hmm.
was
That
enough
sold
for
you.
me to go. But if it wasn't for her and her taking the time to genuinely walk me through like what it is, what I can find,
Hmm.
I don't know where I would be, honestly.
Mm.
And so I have so much appreciation for her, and for her showing me that yeah, it took one person to kind of like steer me some way to find my trio home, I like to say.
Absolutely. I love that. That's wonderful. Um, yeah, so tell us your favorite thing about Trio SSS. What did you like the most?
I love the advisors. I mentioned finally believing in myself, but then going into a space that genuinely believes in you as well and wants you
Mm.
to succeed was
Hmm.
something I had never experienced at all in my life. And so finally having an advisor sit there and tell me like you're going to graduate in these next 2 years, like let's think about long-term goals, like yeah,
Yeah.
like you got classes, like having my registration pins. I remember feeling so excited that they would give us our pins first before some people, like the rest of the
Mm.
student population. I remember I felt so special, and it's something that I don't think I could ever repay Trio for. Um, they did so much for me. They got me hooked up to the Ames to UNC program as well, and so that was like so many resources, so many possibilities, so many people believing in my success. Like I just love Trio. I could go on and on.
Was there a favorite activity or a favorite thing they put out that you were like immediate and it really helped you out, or just something that you enjoyed doing?
Honestly, there was not like a specific one, but I can tell you that one of the main events that they always have is like orientation and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
so when I went to orientation, I felt like home. I knew that it was for me, and yeah, that was all I needed to say like I love Trio. I'm staying here forever.
I love that. That's wonderful. So you earned your associates in liberal arts from ACC. What did earning this degree mean to you?
I felt so fulfilled. I felt so proud of myself. One thing I would tell first generation students who go to a community college, an associate's degree should be celebrated the way that a 4-year degree, a
Oh,
bachelor's
that's
degree is.
important. Absolutely.
You just like this is like a message to anyone out there that's going to community college is going to get their associate's degree. You broke a generational curse right there as a first gen student. Be proud of it. Um, I was so proud of it. I remember um being so mad that the degree wasn't in the folder that they give us for graduation. Because I didn't know that's not
No,
how it
yet.
works. Until later on, but I remember I was like, it's blank. Like I worked so
They
hard
only
for
gave me the
this.
cover.
And they only gave me the cover for it. But as soon as I got it in the mail, I put it on my because my bed frame has like a little like shelf on it.
Uh-huh.
And so I put it there, and I remember saying like, oh, like once. I get my bachelor's degree and no matter what, anything else, I'm open to it. I'm gonna frame them on my wall because
That's
it
awesome.
it took a lot. So earning the degree for me was such a great accomplishment. Um, I knew I could do it, and for my family too, like showing them that I had these capabilities and I was doing so much and it was worth it in the end, um, was genuinely fulfilling for sure.
That's awesome. Now, at this point in this stage of your educational career, you decided to transfer. Was that a conversation you had with your TRIO advisors or your college advisor? And did you know what four-year institution you wanted to jump into?
Yeah, so I luckily I loved all my advisors. I got really good advisors when I first started off. When it came to Trio, they're kind of the ones that pointed me to the Ames to UNC program. And so
Oh, cool.
this program, I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but it's practically like, okay, we're gonna sign you up for the program. You're considered a UNC student, but every class that you take is catered so that when you are ready to go to a 4 year and after getting your associate's degree, you have all the credits. They align with that institution. If need be, they pay for one class, and it makes the admissions process completely like they babied me. I'm not gonna lie. Like once I was in the Ames to UNC program, I didn't have to worry about reapplying again to UNC for like my junior year and stuff like that. And so honestly, like the only college that made it to my list was UNC just because of that program making it
Totally.
so easy for
Yeah.
me to just, you know what, all your classes are valid here. They're gonna take them at UNC. They'll go to whatever degree you want them to go to, and period. I said, I'm there. I'm there.
There, done.
Yeah, like I'm there. Don't mind
That's
me.
wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I like that the community colleges have set partnerships with the four-year institutions.
Oh
Like with
yeah.
CSU, we have the Rams to Wolves program, which
Oh
is wonderful. But I know that we also have a partnership with Ames that allows students
wow.
to transfer over, which, as speaking as an advisor, that's my full-time job. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's so cool. Like, I love that you're able to take those credits and bring them over to the foreign institution and say, you know what,
Mhm.
I'm already halfway there. What else do I
I'm
need to do?
safe. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that was one of the things. Because that was another thing I didn't know about was that some colleges won't accept some of the
Oh yeah,
LACs.
that's yeah.
When I found that out, my jaw was to the floor. I said, "You mean like some people genuinely take all those classes, take probably years sometimes, and they're still
Hmm.
not accepted? That is crazy." So
Yep.
when I knew that
Yep.
UNC would take all my credits, I said, "Yeah, UNC is my only option."
Totally, and which is super understandable.
Yeah.
So you went to the University of Northern Colorado. Did you have an idea of what program you wanted to major in?
Yeah, so I mentioned so I went undeclared. I decided psychology, but then I was like, you know what? I like the physical therapy, occupational therapy route. So then it was just an associates of arts, liberal arts. And then when I went to UNC, I remember still having it in the back of my mind of like becoming an occupational therapist.
Hmm.
And so my advisor at the time had told me that the closest thing that I could get, um, that would prepare me as well as it could for grad school, would be a sport and exercise science major.
Wow.
So that's the program I kind of like knew that I was gonna get into a little bit. I
Hmm.
had already taken like two classes that Ames to UNC had paid for, so I was a little bit familiar with that major already.
That's wonderful. So with UNC, it must have been super different because you went from taking online classes or
Yeah.
maybe occasionally being on campus to now being setting foot on a four-year campus, right?
Yeah. So the moment like I stepped foot at UNC, like I was still at Ames, so I still had that like little cushion of like, oh
Oh,
my
for sure.
goodness,
Yeah.
gotta
There's
go
a little
again.
transition.
Like this is just my little like adventure right now, but I still have to go back to school, you know?
Sure.
But I remember feeling so out of place.
Hmm.
I Luckily, I'm very strong-minded, but I almost cried because of how overwhelming it was. I remember this class was in Gunter Hall at the University of Northern Colorado, and I remember going up the stairs looking for the class, and then mind you, I came 15 minutes early because I was like, like it's not gonna be full. Oh my gosh, the class was full. It was
Oh,
still during COVID time. So everyone had their masks on, and so I think I just felt like an outsider because I knew I didn't fully go to that university. And just seeing the rows, like I think there was like 50 people in that one class, and that was a little overwhelming for me because I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm so used to having like someone sit next to me and then we're besties for the rest of our college career at Ames, like
yeah.
and then to go here and the masks were there and it was in person, too many people. I saw people chatting it up for with each other already, and so I felt off. I was like, dang, I don't know anyone. Um
Mm,
and so I knew I was like, if I wanted my presence to be known, I had to do more.
hmm.
I could not be this like not that I was shy, but like be this person that, didn't make themselves known in a crowded room. I knew like if I genuinely wanted to make the impact that I had made at Ames, I had to start being louder here at UNC. And so
Right.
that was like my biggest like girl, you're in for a wild ride because we don't know what's gonna happen. But this is a first time experiencing this, so we
Right,
gotta
right.
put ourselves out there.
Absolutely. Do you feel like then being at that foreign institution, it almost forced a growth on you? Like you had to be
Oh
a little bit
yeah.
more extroverted. You had to connect. You had to network.
I said I literally knew it in my head, like if it if it wasn't for me like expanding my personality and be willing to like be that talkative butterfly and want to do everything and everything, I knew I would not be successful. I know
Wow.
that now. I think I would have been one of those students who only went to class and back home, and I wouldn't have grown as a person at all.
Wonderful. Well, it's great to see the growth that you've experienced. I mean, now through the podcast, the listener, I feel, has gets a sense of feeling like how you grew from this timid, shy, sometimes shy student to now like you are talkative, you network and you expand. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. Did you find another trio program at UNC?
Yes, I did. So, at UNC, they have the Center for Human Enrichment, which is TRIO. It's just named
Named
differently here.
differently. Yeah, that's yeah.
Um, so that was another thing. Obviously, I had to apply for this one, so I was a little bit nervous because I was like, what if I don't get in because it's a bigger school? And I was like, but I love Trio so much. Like, let me in, you
Yeah.
guys. Like, this is my home. And so yeah, like when I found out about Che, I was like, oh my gosh, like I gotta get in there. I need to apply as soon as I can. Because if I don't, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I did find another CHIO program to call home as well.
Wonderful. So, the Center for Human Enrichment, was that an SSS program or was it a McNair Scholars program?
SSS program.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you were a two-time SSS alum in that you were SSS with Ames and also SSS with UNC. Now,
Yeah.
can you tell us a little, so how did you find the McNair Scholar program?
Honestly, I found it because I have a flyer.
Oh,
So on
okay.
campus, they have like on the stairs, sometimes they have like bulletin boards with flyers. And so I remember one time being done with class and I look over and it was like McNair Scholars Program applications are open, do blah blah blah.
Hmm.
Do you want research experience? Do you want help with grad school? And I was like, oh, okay, like these are all things I think I should be considering right
Oh, but yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
So I was like, this looks like it would be such a really cool opportunity and experience. So I said, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's
Hmm.
go for it. Um, that's how, and then I remember it was like, um, you have to have this, this, and this, and you have to submit it in person. So I remember like going through the checklist, and I was like, I can do that. I can do that. I can apply. I think I can apply to this. So yeah, that's how it was a flyer. Uh, I
Hmm.
I and I think
Wow.
that's why I love the rocket ship because I remember the rocket ship, and I remember thinking, man, it's kind of like you can shoot for the stars. And then
Oh
I was like,
yeah, that's a good
"Oh,
imagery.
yeah," and so I was like, you know what? Like this seems like such a good like I was like, I don't know, it's calling my name. It's calling my name. So yeah.
So you went from SSS to TRIO. You put your application in for the McNair's Scholars Program.
Yeah, so TRIO was first. I had done my first semester at UNC
Hmm.
officially as a full-time student. And
Hmm.
then my second semester, McNair was looking and McNair is kind of like, okay, you apply your junior year or senior year. And they
Hmm.
only accept juniors and seniors, right?
Right, 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 right.
And so that was when the time frame for juniors to apply started coming in, and so I was like, well, I'm an SES major, I'm entering my junior year, technically my senior year, but I was willing to add another year onto the program, onto my curriculum in order to fulfill the program completely without being as stressed, because if no, if like the listeners don't know, trio, you're practically doing a small dissertation, I'd like to say. You're writing a manuscript, you're doing research and stuff like that, so it's a lot. um
Yeah.
and
It's a
I didn't
commitment.
know it at the time, but
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to be a part of it.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
So that actually great segue to the next question about, can you talk to us about your experience with the TRIO McNair Scholars Program? What did you enjoy most about it? What's like a memory that sticks out to you? Or yeah, what did you enjoy most?
um I think my experience, so I went through loss during my experience for the McNair Scholars Program.
Hmm.
um and I think I'm very grateful for it because I kind of experienced like grad school on a lower level, and going through one of like the hardest times of my life altogether.
Mm.
And so I genuinely felt like I could do anything. McNair solidified that for me because obviously, like, we're writing a manuscript, we're hoping to get published, we're trying to build our CVs so that when we apply to grad school, like, we're a top candidate, you know? Um, and I feel like for me, while I was going through a hard situation in my
Hmm.
life, McNair validated me in such a way that like you can still do it, you can still graduate, and you can still complete one of the hardest things you've ever done, um, all while going through other things on top of it. Um, my cohort got really close, and so I remember experiencing like making my bestest friends in college through McNair, being surrounded by people who are so intelligent, so smart, have their own ideas on how they're going to fix the world practically.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um and I remember just saying, like, this is home. Like, being in a group of educated individuals who want to make the world a better place. Like, experiencing McNair, because it's stressful. It's so stressful, especially as an undergrad. You're doing so much research, you're writing all the time, on top of all your classes. And so, um, being able to sit down and like break down with someone who's going through the same thing, and if not taking harder classes than you are, is kind of like, okay, like, I'm crying, but let me wipe your tear, and
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, like, wipe my tear for me too. But yeah,
yeah.
it was so stressful, but I love McNair. It was one of the best decisions I ever did on in my entire life. It shaped me as a scholar, it shaped me as a person. um so yeah, kisses to McNair.
Well, Jackie, it sounds first wonderful and great things that you've done within the McNair program, but also being at UNC. You've accomplished so much. You've done wonderful things. But yeah, and you're that really from the earlier conversation that we had about resiliency, that really demonstrated that like that really shines.
Yeah, yeah, it really was I think that was the thing of like, I really can reach for the stars. Like, if I hit rock bottom, the only way is up. So
Absolutely.
McNair put that in my head.
I love your reframe. I love how you look and you have the outlook of life. I love it. You're getting close to graduating. You said in the pre-show or during the podcast intro that summer 26 is your graduation tentatively. What does the
Yeah.
future hold for you?
So I'm hoping to get an internship in the summer. And then honestly, I am so open to anything. Given the current like climate of things, I'm scared of going to grad school just because again with the loans and stuff like that. But if I get the opportunity to experience something like, maybe with like a fellowship, a GA, a school gives me a good opportunity, I'm always willing to take it. But I told myself I'm open to working after graduation, building my work portfolio. Um, I kind of like listed different avenues for myself. So I'm like, okay, I could go to grad school to this place. I could work and then hopefully maybe they pay for my grad school.
You
I
could, yeah.
could, yeah, I could get a GA fellowship. I also could just prepare myself because the end goal for me is to go to med school.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
and I really want to be an osteopathic doctor. And so if that means, after graduation I go get in my EMT certificate, I'm doing that. Like,
Wonderful. So it sounds to me like your paths are completely open. You're wanting to go to a certain direction, but you're open to the paths that are before you.
oh yeah, because I obviously I changed my major from SES to double major in human services and health sciences, and so I'm open to anything. I realized having a set like timeline and schedule and preparing, like, even though you can prepare as best as you can, it always doesn't work out, and so I'm so open to anything.
I love that you're like plan A, plan B, plan C, plan
Oh
D,
yeah,
plan E, plan
yeah,
F.
that
Like you
is.
got backups.
Yeah, I have to have like 30 because if not, I'm gonna be scared.
Well, that's wonderful. Um, as we're heading toward the end of this podcast, what advice do you have for trio participants who are listening to your episode?
The advice I would give is be open to change. Your experience is not the same as everyone else's. Many of the listeners are probably first generation students or people who had experience being a first generation student. And so, my biggest thing is show up authentically as yourself, take up space where you need to take up space, but also be willing to grow as a person. Sometimes we assume that we know everything, but that's not the case, and it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make mistakes, but always strive to be a better version of yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will believe as hard as you do. And so you set the standard for that. Um, I'm trying to think, what else can I say?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If you've got more things to say, absolutely share with the trio participants.
I guess you're worthy of being where you are.
Oh, I love
Um,
that. Yes.
Never take for granted the opportunities that you're given, because you never know the doors that get closed for others. But yeah, I think always strive to be the best version of yourself, and you got this. I believe in you, and I hope that whoever listens to this podcast feels empowered.
I love that. That's wonderful advice. I love the energy you're demonstrating to really show that authenticity to the others about their success and their journeys as well. So thank you, Jackie.
Yeah, of course.
Based on your experience, what piece of advice would you give trio professionals to better support students like yourself?
Um, I think, what one of the biggest experiences that I received from Trio was a belief in like that the belief that advisors had in me that I didn't see in myself yet. And so, to any TRIO professional, believe in your students. Like, even though you might not see them in the long term, you don't know the capacity and the level that belief can take them to. Because of my advisors, because of like how they would encourage me and talk to me, I was able to get the courage to apply to McNair. I was able to, still be in McNair, and I was able to believe in me achieving so much more things. Um, so pour that out into your students and those that might be struggling right now, because that you maybe they're the next like Albert Einstein. I don't know, you never
Yeah.
know. And so maybe you saying one thing to them makes them so successful. I like to go under the pretense of give credit where it's due, and so my advisors, they brought me here, honestly. And I know TRIO professionals have that capability.
You gave a wonderful answer that it segues beautifully to the next question. Who served as your mentors, and do you want to take some time to give them a shout out now?
Oh my gosh. I have so many because I just love giving credit where it's due. I wouldn't be who I am without the people that I've experienced. Bear with me, my list is a little long. You put me on the spot, but like I said, give credit where it's due. I would love to formally thank Citlali Gomez, Alicia Nava Ortiz, Jessica Pimentel, Jacob Sutton, Jeezy Martinez, Krista Kaufman, Brianna Bailey, Shayla Bermudez, Marcelina Rodriguez, James Pelletier, and lastly, the people who I love dearly, my grandfather, Elfido Perez, my grandmother, Virginia Perez, my parents, Eremita Estrada and Horacio Estrada, and my younger brother, Ulises Estrada. Thank you for believing in me and playing a critical role in who I am. You all have shaped and changed the trajectory of my life as an academic and an individual.
So, what is something that you're currently reading, watching, or listening to?
Oh, right now I'm watching The Summer I Turned Pretty. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've
It's a
heard of this
show.
show. Give us a synopsis. What is this about?
It's a love interest between a girl and two brothers.
Oh, oh
It's a
wow.
little weird, but good. There's a book on it, so maybe the book is better than like what it sounds like. But yeah, it's pretty good. At first, I would see it on my TikTok, and I was like, "Ew, I'm not watching that basic stuff." Like, no, I'm not. I got better things to watch. And then
Yeah.
I fell in the trap. It's so
Oh
good.
my, that's how TikTok does you though. Like it starts to. When I started on TikTok, it would occasionally like throw in some political. So I'm a huge political nerd, and it
Yeah.
started throwing West Wing. It's a very old show. It started throwing West Wing on my
Oh,
feed,
yeah.
and I was like, I'm not gonna watch the West Wing. And before I knew it, I was binging the West Wing.
I'm
Jackie,
so yeah, TikTok knows you, and
it
TikTok
does. It's
I
so
know.
weird.
I say my little TikTok spy knows what I like. But yeah, that's a TV show. Books, I bounce around a lot. So one day I'll get back to you on what I
Okay,
finished.
your 1 year follow up. Well, yeah, same
Yes,
time next year. We'll
yeah,
follow up.
yeah.
Are there any like particular music genres that you like to listen to?
Um, I'm really into pop, so like Post Malone. I'm going to take McRae tomorrow.
Oh,
So I
awesome.
really enjoy her. Yeah, artists like that, like really, I love the beat of music. I don't care what the lyrics say. They can be like the most like, I love pizza and pepperoni. If the music's
You're
good,
like, it's gonna
I'm
work.
gonna listen to it. Yeah. So yeah, pop
I
music
love
is
that.
my favorite.
I love that. That's wonderful. Is there a future concert that you're looking forward to?
Tim McRae.
Okay, okay.
It's
That
coming
was that
up
was
tomorrow.
should have
I've
should have
been
known.
such a fan of her since she started off because she used to be very low key. No one really knew about her, and now she's blown up so much, and I'm like,
Wow.
wow, to experience that growth with an artist is kind of crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. The hardest question you're ever going to get on this podcast.
Oh,
Using
geez.
only one word, describe yourself.
Ooh, I would say resilient.
I like that. That is the theme of the podcast for this
Yeah,
episode. Resilient. That's going to be a great episode for this episode. Or title
yeah.
for this episode.
Overcoming, I would say, barriers that were previously set for me there.
Yes. All right. Well, Jackie, we are now at the end of the podcast. It has been a pleasure to speak with you this evening
I
and to
know,
talk
so
about you.
bittersweet.
I
It's so
know. And if you can
bittersweet.
believe it, look at the time. It's 7:17 Mountain Daylight Time for the folks whoever's listening. We've been talking for nearly an hour and 20 minutes. You've
Yeah,
been a
it's crazy.
fantastic guest. Thank you so much for sharing your trio journey and me learning about your ambitions. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad to share it.
Absolutely. So again, I'm making this promise now. I am going to reach out to you in a year and we're going to do a follow-up to see where you are.
Oh
So,
yeah, I'm all for it.
wonderful. We have a tradition on the podcast where we have the guest do a sign-off. Do you care to do the honors?
Of course. Hi, this is Jackie Estrada Perez, and I'm an alum for the TRIO Student Support Services program from Ames Community College and a current participant of the TRIO McNair Research Scholars program and a proud student for the Center of Human Enrichment at the University of Northern Colorado. I hold an associate's degree from Ames Community College, and I'm going to graduate with 2 Bachelors of Sciences and 2 minors from the University of Northern Colorado. You were created to do good work, work that empowers and inspires, liberates and transforms, restores and softens. Yes, work can be hard, as it was meant to be. The verb itself calls us to action, rejecting passivity and demanding sustained effort. It provokes, agitates, and disturbs. But this work, the call for justice, is good work. It defends the oppressed and frees the captive. It tears down walls, destroys barriers, it changes things. So when you are feeling weary or hopeless or spent, remind yourself that the darkness is being flooded by marvelous light. Yes, this is work, and it is good. By Danielle Koch. Along with, they tried to bury us, but they forgot we were seeds. You can always sprout to be whoever you want to be, do whatever you want to do. Water yourself, and you'll grow to be whatever you want to be. TRIO works. Protect TRIO. TRIO is worth it.
Are you a participant, alum, or staff of a TRIO program? Do you want your program highlighted? You or your program could be featured in an upcoming episode of Let's Talk TRIO. Get a hold of us by going to our Facebook page or Instagram and send us a direct message. Search for Let's Talk TRIO. We want to get your story to the public.
You just heard from our guest, Jackie Estrada Perez, student at the University of Northern Colorado and participant of the TRIO McNair Scholars Research program. Jackie, thank you so much for being on the podcast and for sharing your TRIO journey. Remember, if you would like to be on the Let's Talk TRIO podcast or know a staff, advocate, participant, or alumni, send us an email at letstalktrio@gmail.com. That email again is letstalktrio@gmail.com. A heartfelt thanks to our individual supporters, Angelica Villalpando, Dr. Jamie Motley, Dr. Ryan Barone, Dr. Jeff Naputi, Angelica Valdez, Rosario Riley, Felicia Rivera, Eric Lemaster, Jeff Calden, and Jaded Electronics. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, TrioJoblist.com, Nosotros Education Center, Longsdale Publishing, Student Access, and the TRIO Store, powered by Performa. Visit www.thetriostore.com, your source for TRIO graduation stoles. Thank you all so much for your continued support of this podcast. You too can sponsor the Let's Talk TRIO podcast in one of 3 ways. Become a monthly patron on Patreon. Our base level starts at $1 a month. Become a corporate sponsor by placing an ad on the podcast. Contact us for details. Become a supporter with a one-time donation to the podcast business PayPal account. Our business handle is @Let'sTalkTrio. I'd like to take a moment to thank our honorary members of the Let's Talk Trio podcast, Roderick Chambers, Tony Ho, Scott Kendall, and Susan Cramp. The Let's Talk Trio podcast team is John Russell, audio engineer, music producer, composer and performer, and post-production editor. Amelia Castañeda, script supervisor, marketing manager, social media manager, and producer. Juan Rivas, executive producer and host. Be sure to follow the Let's Talk Trio podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This episode was recorded Friday, September 19th, 2025. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode. As you may know, TRIO is under attack. The current administration argues that TRIO programs are unnecessary, claiming that college access for low-income, first-generation students is no longer hindered by economic and systemic barriers. We all know that is false, and that TRIO services still provide sorely needed opportunities to hundreds of thousands of students nationwide. Action is required in order to protect these vital services. Please contact your members of Congress to let them know that you support TRIO and follow @ProtectTRIO Now on Instagram to stay up to date with the latest updates and information. The links to contact your congressional representative can be found on the podcast description.